Let's talk about histogram charts. So it's actually one of the many charts that are available in Excel 2016 onwards. So over here we have our data set, so sales region, order date, and then the sales for that specific date, right? And then for histogram charts, you can see on the right over here. So what is it good for, right? Because the histogram chart is very good and very visual because it can easily show you the distribution of numerical data. So you could see here which numerical ranges are the most common. So you could see the vertical bar over here. It represents how many times, right, in this specific bin, right, of this range over here. So for example, in 20,000 to 23,889, right, there's around 20 plus occurrences over here, right? So you could see it get represented over here. Oh, there you go. It's actually 21. Let's get started in creating our histogram chart. So what I'm gonna do is let's just select this chart over here. Let's delete that, and then first things first is to highlight your entire column that contains the numerical data. So I'm just holding shift right now, and let's just go down here, right? So you can see that there's a lot of sales data, so we just need to scroll all the way to the end of the table. Okay, now we have this column, right? Now we need to go to insert and then recommended charts. Let's go to all charts, look for histogram, right? And you could see that this is the one that we want, right? And let's go OK. Let me just update this. We don't need the title. And then we're going to make a couple of changes to our histogram chart, right? We want to change the way on how it represents your data. So you can see over here that Excel was the one who automatically generated and determined what are the numerical ranges over here, right? We had no control over it. So here's what we're going to do. What we can do is we can change the way on how this is represented. So we can do that by double clicking on the horizontal axis, right, containing our value. So let me just double click on any one of these, right? And then the format axis window shows up. And in this one, right, let's have a look at the options that we have. So if we go to axis options, let us go through the different options, right? So we have automatic, wherein Excel does the heavy lifting for you. So you don't need to determine or think of anything on the specific ranges. It just determines what the size of each bin would be. And then we have the bin width, right? So for the bin width, you would be telling Excel on how many units should each bin contain, right? So for this one, we have 11,000, right? So we are telling Excel that we want each bin to cover 11,000 each. And then next is number of bins. So Excel will automatically determine the size of each bin. So we just tell Excel on how many bins you want, and then it's up to Excel on what are the numerical ranges. You can definitely modify the number of bins as well. Next is overflow bin. So this will set a threshold for your bins. So any value above this threshold will be placed inside this bin. You could think of like an upper container, right? Upper limit container. So if it goes above this limit, then it just falls straight to that bin. Same as well for underflow bin. So this is another threshold, but any value below this threshold will be placed in this bin. Okay, so those are pretty much the bins that we have. So let's try out this settings so we can just modify our histogram. So let's try number of bins, and then let's make it a bit more like 20. Okay, and then let's set the, so you could see, right, there's now 20 bins that are being shown. So you could see it's represented by 20 columns over here. Okay, and then next is the overflow bin. Let's set it to 90,000, right? And then the underflow bin, let's go for 20,000. So all of the sales that are 20,000 and below will go to this underflow bin. Okay, it's looking good. Okay, so we have our histogram over here. So let me just close that. Our settings are good, right? So you could now have a look into your histogram chart, and then you can quickly point out to your boss which range of values are the most common ones.